start us off, I want everyone to raise their hand if they knew that coconuts actually kill more people per year than shark attacks. Okay, good. I was making sure y'all weren't lying, so make sure everyone's ready for this. But today, this is a very important topic to me because I'm from Florida and I've gone over this topic 100 times with my friends, family, other people coming in town, and it's very something that's very widespread and not understood. And sharks are not what most people think are not as bad as what they are portrayed. Humans actually are at least 100 times more scary and more destructive than sharks are to us. And that's something that's not really well received. And going into my first point, that sharks are actually more afraid of us than how afraid we are of them. According to the FIU News, sharks stay away from people unless startled or confused. This is very important because whenever you're at the beach, you shouldn't be thinking about whether sharks are coming up to approach you whenever you're not looking or whenever you are uncomfortable. And rather than they're in their own habitat and they're living their own lives, and it happens that we actually, as people, are interrupting their daily life in which we don't really care to think about other things. The future, that's also something that I believe is very important. And sharks use these things called test bites, which in most cases are just nudges or even just a small bite in which they let go. And it's not supposed to be malicious or anything like that, but it's more if they thought it was a seal or a fish or something else and are not looking to harm humans. Given that sharks tend to stay away from humans, the following point demonstrates how unlikely it is to be attacked by a shark. Shark attacks are very unlikely. According to the Florida Museum of Natural History, the odds of being attacked is actually 1 in 37 million. So if you were to take that chance 37 million times, make it bitten once, but I think 37 million beach trips is probably worth it. The likelihood of being hurt in an intramural sports game is something that we don't think about, or a day-to-day sports game in which we glorify going out in the field and risking getting CTE or breaking your leg, in which you know that something's going to happen, rather than whenever you're at the beach and there's something unlikely that is very, very small likelihood of happening, in which causes so much more anxiety and thought behind not having fun in the area in which that should not be the case. Shark phobia is much more widespread via the media and everything else that comes with it. In the back of your head at all times whenever you're having a fun family vacation, in which in other ways you're not thinking about if you're a college student and you're going to, most of us can't go to a bar right now because we're under 21 years old, but doing something risky like that puts you in far more danger than being out in the water with sharks, and there's no movies about people dying from alcohol poisoning. Now that we see how low risk are, let's consider the bigger danger, how we affect sharks in the environment. Humans are more harmful to sharks, and especially our coral reefs, our seaweed, and also algae as well. World Wildlife Fund says overfishing in the shark fin market caused over 100 million shark deaths per year. Because sharks are apex predators, this is very important because this causes a trickle-down effect from the very top all the way down to the very bottom. Sharks like to feed on big fish called grouper, in which we have them in our area where I'm from, and grouper are also grazers, in which they eat off a lot of coral reefs, and they disrupt a lot more than people expect. And so not having that apex predator there to destroy the overpopulation, it trickles down from the top to the bottom, in which does a lot more damage than we can ever think. And from our case, in our view, our selfish lifestyle in which I would say that we look to where sharks should be destroyed, in which they don't hurt us, because that's the only thing that really causes us fear and us having a good time is being in their habitat. And that's just something that we do not understand, and it actually does a lot more risk and a lot more danger to our entire future than what we think. Today we've covered how humans actually cause considerably more harm to sharks in the ecosystem, how sharks attacks are statistically uncommon, and how sharks are more terrified of humans. While often feared, sharks are not nearly as dangerous as what we see. And I hope by the end of this speech, y'all realize that beach trips are supposed to be a lot more fun and a lot more freeing than what a lot of people think. And I hope that next time you go down the seaside, you decide to go out to the sandbar and maybe try some things you've never done before. Thank you.